Go.
I'm going to plant some tomatoes. These ones have been planted in February and they've been sitting outside, hardening off, getting used to the cold for 2 weeks now. So as you can see, they're really nice, strong stalks. These ones, however, have been on the windowsill inside and they've gone really thin and straggly and weak. We're going to harden them off gradually, putting them outside when it's nice and warm, and see if they'll strengthen up. There is a way where we can plant them up to there, up further up, to stop them in such straggly little plants. So we just plant them deeper up the stalk, but we wouldn't do that until they've had a chance to harden off and get used to the cold weather. But when you're transplanting tomatoes, what you need to do is get your fingers around the neck of the plant, down the bottom, turn it upside down and give it a little squeeze and basically catch it. You can see it's really dry, it needs a water. So we're going to be planting these into bigger pots where they will mature to full plants with all their fruits and everything. So I'll just make a hole, press it a bit deeper into the pot and firm it round. Now these weren't transplanted into these bigger pots 2 weeks ago. They're in the place where they were sown as seeds. So as you can see, they were sown at the same time, but they're much weaker looking plants. So we're going to have a go at just putting them into a pot now. And I'm going to fill it up to, I'm going to put it deep and fill it up to its neck. So I'm going to fill it up to there with soil. I'm just borrowing a bit from that one. So that one, although it's been outside and it was planted at the same time, you can see what a difference it makes to the plant if it's got some more space to grow. So bearing that in mind, I have got some room in the garden. I'm obviously going to give that a water. Now what I've put in here, in this water, is a bit of feed. You mix it up from what it says on the packet. You can get by just tomato feed. When the plants get more than 2 sets of leaves, so there's the first set, there's the second set, third set, fourth set. This one's got 4 sets of leaves. As once it's got past the 3 sets of leaves, then you can start to feed it. And it definitely needs a feed now. I've transplanted it. It's like when you move house, the first thing you do is have a cup of tea. So it's had a nice big water. What we're going to do, because of the difference in size, the more room they've got, the bigger they grow. So bearing that in mind, we're going to put some in the ground. If you haven't got room in the ground, you can sow them in pots fine. What I've got in this piece of land is like some beetroot, and I've got some lettuce. So what I'm going to do is plant down the centre, dig a nice big hole, and I'll put some tomatoes, because the lettuce will be out of the ground and eaten before the tomatoes are ready, and the beetroot are quite happy growing underground in the shade of the tomato. So I've done a really nice big hole there, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to backfill full of my own homemade compost. And same thing, tip it upside down, give it a little pat or a squeeze and plop it in. We're going to plant it slightly deeper than the level of the soil. And what happens is, I'm going to make a little dip in the soil so that when you water it, the water goes into the roots. So I'll put 4 in this piece of ground. So I'll put one, the next one and space it out and put it about that far apart. And eventually they will need a stick or sticks to climb up. So what I've got They're just any garden sticks, you don't need canes. I'll put one on each side, and I usually tie them together and then put string round it, gives it some stability.